I can see that Nolan is triggered.
Yeah.
He's he's holding back, and so these ways of unifying the data that we're feeding into mechanisms are things that should be fought back against. And so I always teach kids, and I say, no, you need to have a unique, pseudonymous identity every time you log into a new site. And I'll show you how to create a new email address. I'll show you how to track anytime something happens to these addresses. And if I ever get an email on one of these from Have I Been Pwned, for example, I'm going to come down really hard on that one company that should not have had my data because I gave it to that other company.
Mhm.
Things of that nature are ways to empower people. Otherwise, what doesn't empower them is, hey, you know what? There's been another data breach this week. And that kind of coverage doesn't help anybody. People have become desensitized because in none of those articles does it actually say what you can do from a practical perspective to have an impact and protect your family once the data has gone out. And of course, the data goes out permanently. You don't recall it. That's the kind of stuff that I always explain to kids, regardless of their age. I literally teach kindergarten kids how to pseudonymize themselves. They come into the classroom and they just want to tell me their name, and I'm like, no, no, just tell me your favorite superhero, and that's going to be your nickname. And we don't take pictures. We teach them that whenever somebody takes pictures of them, they need to talk about permission, and pseudonymization, and some of the fun words to pronounce, because kids love to gamify everything. So cyber situational awareness is one of their favorite words to pronounce in class, and they go home to their parents and they talk about this guy that they saw on TV, and he explained to them that cyber situational awareness is the thing to have. So yeah, it goes fairly deep. I insist on data deletion. I'm trying to organize. I'm trying to get parents to be more, not so much more educated as so much more interested.
Mm.
And the way that you interest people is by showing them the impact of failure to act on other people's families as well as on their own families. But of course, recommending annual privacy audits for school boards, digital literacy programs for families, um, the due diligence that has to go into surveillance technology is by definition needs to be transparent. Parents need to have the right to ask about the due diligence that went into this new thing that made an appearance, or the smart board that is in front of their kids. Um, Mandatory vendor privacy agreements. This kind of goes into my privacy company. So I have a privacy company that vets education technology on behalf of some of the best uh, innovators out there, and there are some, and that is really encouraging. Obviously, just basic reminders to use MFA. A few months ago, we discovered that um, all of the kids in my school have to surrender their passwords to their teachers, and so I had an opportunity to educate the school board's IT department about how this basically undoes every principle of security and trust available to date, prior to submitting the concern to the privacy commissioner. And then, generally speaking, recommending stronger cybersecurity measures that are uh, visible to the community is a great way to build a discussion, not just to build a false sense of security, but to actually encourage a dialogue. I think that's going to make a difference, but it's a tough slog.
Yeah, I think those tips. I think are going to be very helpful to folks. I think a lot of what you said resonated when you were mentioning about camera in the front of the phone, I was thinking about all the new cars that now have cameras facing at the driver, and do some biometric stuff to see which way your head is facing, and so they can tell whether or not you're using your eyes are on the road while self-driving. So I appreciate all those tips. I think they're going to be helpful. I think the audience is going to appreciate them. As we wrap up here, where can folks follow your work and get more resources? I think you've given so many incredible tips. And where can folks find out more?
Three sites. One, badsecurity.ca. That's my blog, and it includes the bad privacy blog, which I maintain in tandem, and I add articles whenever I have the time. There's always a dozen articles that I'm working on simultaneously. The big, important, and very useful site is that of the KnowledgeFlow Foundation. We have a dozen really motivated and passionate young people who produce content that is then presented to users and to the public. And more recently, we've got the KnowledgeFlow Academy. So knowledgeflow.org is the website. Go to the KnowledgeFlow Academy and take any of the free courses. So if you've got teachers, students, schools, school districts, they should all get their badges from the KnowledgeFlow Cyber Safety Academy. It's free, and it just empowers people that much more to understand the difference between having security and privacy, or versus having a false sense of security and privacy.
Hey detoxers! Thanks for tuning in. You can find Disinfo Detox on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share. Every click helps grow the community and keeps those tech overlords happy. Detox complete.